Hey San Fam! It's been about 7 years ago that we decided that Katja would stay at home and be a full-time housewife, or homemaker as we like to call it. It is not something that is very common, especially in our part of the world, in Norway, where a lot of women are encouraged to just pursue their own career and have their children, at daycare or school. And
it's actually extremely unusual that someone is home. In Sweden, you're not even allowed to homeschool. So, now we moved to Norway so that we could homeschool. But even in Norway, it's very uncommon that someone is home with their child.
It's seen as something from the past. It's something that was before, but now, now women have all the opportunities that they want. But you wanted to be a housewife, a homemaker, right?
Yeah.
You still want that?
Yeah. Even though it has its own challenges, yes, I'm very happy for that choice, and I wouldn't trade it. Even if I did love my job, like I'm an educated biomolecular scientist, and I love things that have to do with the body and analyzing things, and I loved my job, but I wouldn't trade this for anything, even if it, like we will talk a bit about the challenges also of being a housewife, and because not everything is just like, just fluffy, and
did you think
that's important to know also.
From the beginning, what was your view of, okay, I'm gonna be a housewife? What were your expectations? That it would be relatively easy, or what did you think?
I don't know if I remember what I was thinking, actually. But I guess that...
Because it's very, in society, it looks down very much on this role. It's like, it's only, cleaning and just doing what the husband says.
I guess I had a little bit of the society picture of it, of that. I thought that maybe you would have a lot of free time. I do think not that was any motivation to why I wanted it, but that's just the picture that I thought that how can you be so busy with like if you normally say if you go to work, you still have to make some food, you still have to clean. So if you then don't go to work those hours, then you have to do other things. So how can you get so busy? You must have a bunch more free time and be able to develop some interest or whatever. I kind of thought that you would have more time, but that is one of the big struggles, the lack of time to do everything.
It's also, of course, because we homeschool.
Yeah, so that is
a job.
Yeah,
you're a
exactly.
teacher.
But that is the thing that is not always considered. Like when people think about this also, and that is the thing that maybe I wasn't fully understanding with the time of it. I understood that, but I don't think it is as it's not just it's relaxing vacation, as what people might sometimes think about it. Like I knew that it wasn't really like that, but it was still surprising how like little time you have for just your own things, or what was it I was gonna... what was it that I was gonna say?
If your expectations from the beginning versus reality now, if it kind of matches or not.
Yeah, but I had something in mind to say. It just completely disappeared.
I'm sorry if I'm... time.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit off, because I think I have I had a flu for the last 2 weeks, and I have like a sinus infection. So if you notice anything, that's it. But it was maybe it gets back later. But that that you're very busy with a lot of things, and that's the thing that people can have this picture of that. But you have so much time and so much relaxed time and just free time. But the thing is, when you homeschool and you take care of everything else, you're actually doing a lot of different occupations in one. So it's sometimes you see those memes where what people think I'm doing
Versus
versus
actually
what I'm
like,
doing. I'm being a teacher, I'm being a nurse, I'm being this and that and that. And that's a bit how I've experienced it too, which makes it very adventurous and interesting. You're never bored. You always have something to do, and there's always more you would wish to do. And that brings me to the challenge of like this distance between maybe the picture you had of like, oh, this is the dream, this is what I would want to do as a stay-at-home wife. I would want to be developing to this like really pleasant wife that are doing
With
keeping the home
baked
fully
bread
clean, with baked bread and all the nutritious food and
perfect clean house.
yeah, exactly. And the homeschooling with a lot of fun, different projects, and like you have a picture of and then you live out in the nature, with your own garden and everything. So you have a picture of what you want, and then in reality, it's like, okay, I'm not there. I'm not where I would wish to be. And I think that's something that many can recognize and feel that, I don't feel like I'm managing to the level I would wish. And that was something I didn't fully anticipate in that way, that I thought that it maybe would be a bit easier to achieve the standard that I wish to have achieved by now. But pretty soon I also realized that, okay, it's more challenging and you still have yourself to deal with. And no matter like what you're doing in life, and it's always challenging to develop better habits, better character, and especially then when being a stay-at-home wife, I think that is even harder to develop better habits and so, because when I was working, you have this outside pressure.
You have certain boxes, kind of. You move from one thing to another.
Yeah, and you have certain guidelines. You have this is what you should achieve. This is what you should follow, and you have a boss that you feel like, okay, I have to do this, and you literally also have to if you want to keep your job. And so it's certain things that acts as extra motivator to get it done. And I'm a person that I'm triggered by deadlines, and it's a difference when you put a deadline for yourself or when someone else has put a deadline for you. It's a big difference. So that is one of the biggest struggles with being a housewife, that you are accountable to yourself and the demands you put on yourself for good and for bad.
It's kind of like starting your own business.
Yeah.
Like it's self-owned and you are the boss and you are supposed to be the one to take the initiative and see things, and it really is like a small home business.
It takes a lot more to do that. So when seeing it in that way, it's also okay. You can maybe understand that it takes more effort, it takes more intention, and life also sometimes just happens with all kinds of challenges, with flooding in the basement, or mice eating up your things in the basement, or like the car breaks down, and like you have different things that you constantly need to deal with that comes and interrupts the perfect structure that you're trying to build, and that throws you off, and you need to just be flexible in the process too. So it's a challenge to have then, say, as if you would make a business and have that so intermingled with your whole life, like, because everything is one and the same thing. Like your dream of what you want to build, and when things happen in the family, it's normally if you have a job and you have a family. Say, if things are going on in the family, okay, you might go to your job and there things are not going on, and you can have some moments of, like the colleagues are talking about just nice things or whatever it might be. You get a little pause from the other side, or the opposite. If things are going on the work that are hard, you can have a pause in the family, and you have some more space. But when you're home the whole time and you're dealing with that the whole time, it can occupy you so much that if then something is not going according to how you wish, it becomes very big and strong in you, and that can be overwhelming, and you can feel like, I'm really not good enough. And that is the biggest struggle I've experienced, that feeling the distance from, I want to be here, I want it to look like this, and I want to have developed in this way. But, we face these struggles, and whoa, I'm just really not good enough. Everyone else seems to do it so much better than me, and to deal with those kind of thoughts, and feel like, you're not good enough wife and mom for your family. And I think this is something that maybe every mom and wife can relate to, no matter if you're home or not, that you can have those moments. But then it is important to also see that that's not you have moments, no matter if you're a stay-at-home wife or not. You have moments where things goes better and things goes worse. So to try to not be stuck in that moment. And for me it helps to think back on how far God actually has taken me. Because in the beginning of our relationship there, I was very, very sick. And
a lot of the skin eczema, so she couldn't really have her hands underwater. So I was doing all the dishes, I was cooking, and
he was basically
cleaning.
doing it all. So then, going from that, where he was taking care of all the normal housewife stuff, and going from a point where earlier in my life I felt like, I will never be one of those typical women or wives that are so good at cleaning and fixing, and wow, I just felt overwhelmed because I grew up. Of course my mom tried to have us clean something, but for main part my mom did most of the household things, and we didn't really do so much of that, and I didn't really learn how to take care of the things and the cleaning until I moved to boarding school, and I had to do some more by myself. But still, I felt very insecure, to be honest, when it came to cleaning and cooking, and that has lived with me for a long time. But my dream has always been to be this, when I was a child, except for some other dreams that children have of I want to be an actor or a mountain climber. But else, my genuine dream for the future was I wanted to just what I thought brings happiness, I want to have a family, live out on the countryside, and just have a nice happy family. That was my dream. So but then I had all these insecurities and felt I will never become that woman. It doesn't come instinctively for me. I'm not a person that sees, here is dirty, there is dirty. It takes a lot of effort for me.
Which is also because of your ADD.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Thing for another time. But there's some challenges. But so there's different challenges very practically, but also mentally, emotionally that you're struggling with.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to finish the thought of that. So I see where God has taken me from. That, it came from that I barely knew how to do anything of it. And when I was then going to be a stay-at-home wife, mom, and we were still in the period where Melvin was he was working from home, which was a huge blessing for me, and it's been very helpful. But he was changing all the diapers in the beginning because I couldn't because of the sickness. But then as I've healed more and more, God has been very graceful in that, and I've been able to take on more and more things, and I started making, more and more food. So quite fast there, I was the one making all the food, and from then I've been, in general, the one making all the food. So God has grown me a lot, and I'm like looked into what's healthy food, and taking that path. So he's like laying piece by piece. It's just that the process maybe has taken longer than what in my earlier mind I would think that I was thinking like, oh, jump into it all and just but when looking back, I can see so much how God has helped me to come this far, and I think that is important to look at. When you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, and wow, my child or my children are not obeying, or they are frustrated, or like, the house might not be as clean as you wish, or something might have happened, or some frustration in the family, and like, as women, we take that quite hard. We want harmony in the family, and so when then the thoughts come of like, oh, I'm not doing a good enough job, try to think back of how far you actually have come and what God has helped you with in the past, because that is the thing that will strengthen you most for the future, to see how God has helped in the past, and to know that, okay, step by step is a journey. It's a journey for everyone to develop and grow in character. It's not just for you, it's for everyone. So is it for your child and your husband or your other children. So be a bit graceful, try to be a bit graceful, and like, okay, I feel like this now, it's okay, I feel sad, but it will take new energies. God's mercy is new every morning. It's a new start. You can try again to if you have lost patience, okay, ask for forgiveness from the people around, and ask for forgiveness from God, and ask Him for strength to learn from the mistakes. Like I say to our son, we learn from the mistakes, and then we grow from them. So, yeah.
From the start, part of the reason of why we wanted this is because of the Bible and our favorite Christian author. Her writings really elevate this traditional role of being a housewife or homemaker, stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, some beautiful quotes.
Yeah, so that inspired us on this path. But then there have been lots of challenges, both foreseen and unforeseen. How do you feel? Is it really worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Because I mean, it's such a valuable journey. Like, it's so valuable to develop in our characters. I mean, that is the most beautiful thing we can invest in, like to develop in our relationship with God and develop in our characters and to help our family. I mean, that is the best thing you can do, to try to grow yourself so that you can be a bigger blessing to your husband and your child or children. I mean, I can't find anything that is more valuable than that. And then from that, like, be an inspiration to others and try to reach people for God's kingdom. Like, that is, to reach people for God's kingdom, that is, those two, like, that's just the most valuable thing you can do in life. So to have this, to get the privilege to be home and take this time for my family, I love that. And like, it's
despite the challenges.
Yes, definitely.
So
like,
how do you experience overcoming those challenges? How do you, especially from the faith perspective, practically speaking, like, how do you feel that you get help from God to be able to do what you're called to do?
Yeah. For me, the thing that really makes the biggest difference, and I can't emphasize this enough, is really the quality time with God. Like, the prayer time, and reading in the Bible time, or reading, read from Ellen White, some books about like how to develop in character, and so that is the thing that really has helped me most, because it's such a huge difference the days when you might already, like, if you might be in a stressful period, or you might be dealing with some sickness, and that's often when you lose like track of having your morning devotion, for example. Like, oh, you might have been sleeping bad. And it makes such a huge difference if you have had your morning devotion or if you have not. I mean, I notice it in the whole family. It like ripples on the water. If you have your time with Jesus, things will go much smoother in the family, especially over time. So don't give up if you don't see, I don't see any change in immediate. No, it can take time. But I have noticed over and over and over when missing that time with God. I think worse, I think slower, I am not as efficient, I am more frustrated. So that is the thing that has helped most, to take the time with God. But that in itself sometimes can be a challenge when you have so many things you need to spend time on. But if anything should have the first priority of like, okay, one thing is needed, like what Jesus said to Martha and Mary when Martha was running around fixing everything. One thing is needed, to sit at Jesus' feet, because that is the thing that gives us the strength and gives us the right motivation to do the other things, and gives us the right attitude to the people around us. And
and I think that that's the most important, that also from my perspective, where I see the results of the challenges or weaknesses, whether, from the past and upbringing, or from ADD or sickness, and things that hinder you from reaching that standard that you have set for yourself and that you wish. I also think that it's more important when, like, who you are. If you are the sunshine in the home. Because then when you are the sunshine in the home, then, okay, maybe some dishes aren't done. But then I feel so much more willing, so to say, to just pick up that chore and just do it. And it's not a problem. So that really, for me also...
He is helping out a lot, by the way. He's like, seeing things that needs to be done and doing many things. I'm very grateful to have a very supportive husband in that you're not like, grumbling like, no, this is not done, or you actually you do clean things and
and I think that is the most important part of the housewife, I don't know, homemaker, and it's to make it a home and to really bring out that love, that both the love for God and love for each other, the warmness, and that it's like when in the morning here we have a beautiful view. It's so nice when we have morning worship and the sun starts coming over the mountains and it's like the blue sky and then the sun comes. That is such a happy moment. It fills the home with like this, it lights up the home. And that is what I think is the main role of the homemakers, like to light up the home. And then the chores, I mean, it's an area of growth, just like I have areas of growth at my work, and like anyone has areas of growth. So, I'm very proud of how far you have come, because it's been a lot of challenges. And you don't give up. That's certainly...
I'm trying to push through the challenges, and I'm glad God gave me a stubbornness in continuing, but it's really an interesting journey and an adventurous journey, and I want to also grow in that area of bringing the sunshine in, because it's really true what you're saying. I mean, a lot of things can be overlooked if you are if you are happy and you show that love and care. And you can show love and care to your family in different ways. One way is, of course, to fix the needed things. But sometimes maybe people stare themselves too much onto those things and maybe answer grumpily to their children because they are busy, or like, and then it's more important with the relations and the attitudes
and also something we have learned is accept the limitations. And this is not just for the homemaker, but for every area of our lives. It's definitely something where we are learning to not to, of course, strive for better and better and better, but also be gracious and to accept limitations. That okay, sometimes you don't get everything done that you wish you would have done. Well, there's a lot that we could talk about, but I would suggest that you can write down comments below if there's any areas that you want us to expand upon, and maybe some practical things, or maybe more of the mental states and the thoughts things. Just ask your questions in the comments below. We would love to talk about this more. And we're on this journey together, and we're just happy to share and to be open about our experiences so that we can grow and encourage one another. Yes. Oh, thank you for sharing.
Well, you're welcome. I hope it can strengthen and encourage someone out there. And just don't give up. Just continue. And just continue to come to God. No matter how many times you fall, continue to come to God, because He will help and He will give you strength and guidance along the road. Sometimes you cry to God for help with your children, or like when you see them struggle or so, and it's okay. It's continue to come to God, and it's a beautiful journey. And if you're a stay-at-home wife or a mother in general, like that's the most beautiful, precious calling that God has given you. And there's this beautiful quote of it. Maybe we can put it up on the screen.
And that's even no angel could ask for a higher calling than being a mother.
And that one is strengthening me and helping me when it feels challenging. Like, wow, I'm so blessed to have this opportunity to get to do this. And I want to then continue on that journey. So when it gets hard, try to look at the blessings, try to look at the positive things, and just continue. You will grow. Go step forward. Sometimes you fall backwards and then go forward more. And if you just persevere, you will see soon. You look back and see like, whoa, okay, God has taken me this far. So, yeah.
Thank you for staying with us for this part 2.
I'm an expert in always making it longer.
We will see you next time on the Sandelin sofa.